In victory, malice. In defeat, revenge. Don't get mad, get bad. Hi, Charkie.
Hey, Cass.
Welcome everyone to Bad Street Brawler, the stream, or alternatively titled Street Hassle, alternatively titled Bop'n Rumble, alternatively titled Oma Shrek, which I think is Grandma's Panic, or Grandma's Fright. I think that's the German title of this game. This is a game that's known by many titles and was released for many platforms. And in this episode of the Bad Game Hall of Fame stream, we'll be playing one of each, let's say. This is something that we covered a long time ago on the site. I'm talking like 2017, 16 maybe even. So it's one of those articles I don't really love looking back on. It's very short. It doesn't get into the history that I hoped it would, or that I would have done like towards like the latter end of writing for Bad Game Hall of Fame. Let's say it doesn't meet my standards, and so hopefully this stream will remedy much of that. Which is to say, I have a whole history section prepared for this particular episode, and there is a fair bit to get into for what is honestly a pretty middling beat 'em up, but with some incredibly goofy aesthetic to it, and some incredibly, let's generously call them novel ideas as to what a beat 'em up could and should be. Have you ever played this before?
First of all, I just wanted to call out Video Game King's comment on our bumper image here, which is 49-year-old Duke Nukem preparing his video will. No, I have never played this game before, or any of these games in this series.
Well, you're gonna get a crash course on it in the maybe 2 hours to come. I don't know if this will be a full 3 hours. Who's to say? Well, there's nothing else to it but to do it, as they say, unless you have a stream stack, perhaps?
I don't, actually.
Oh.
Nothing new.
Well, here I went and designed this graphic for nothing. There's this whole video package, and just throwing it by the wayside.
I'll have a stream snack for you on Thursday. How about that? I'll make a promise to you. I'll have something to talk about Thursday.
All right, thank you. It's something to look forward to in these trying times. A light in the darkness. All right, let's get to a bit of history on a studio by the name of Beam Software. Funnily enough, completely independent of me picking on Bad Street Brawler for the stream. Retro Gamer only went and did a feature on Beam Software for the 259th issue, published May 9th. Funnily enough, this feature, which goes over most of the like early catalog, the early 80s to like mid 90s catalog of this company, Beam Software, who are like something of a mainstay, doesn't mention Bad Street Brawler or any of its variants even once in the course of like 6 or 7 pages. Very curious indeed.
That actually, having read your article, that actually seems like a somewhat strange omission.
Yeah, because there's definitely, like, this is a game they re-released, depending on how you want to count it, like, 4 or 5 times. Maybe, you know, we'll play, like, 1, 2, 3, 4 official variants thereof tonight.
Yeah. And one particularly significant thing about it that we will get into, I'm certain.
I wonder what you could mean, because there are, I could think of several significant things about it, but let's not linger too long on that speculation. Let's get into Beam Software. They're an Australian developer, founded in 1980. They were spun off from a book publisher by the name of Melbourne House, who were established earlier in 1977 in London. Beam Software's purpose in life was to publish and develop video game software to sort of supplement the book publishing that Melbourne House was doing. And by the way, the name Beam is a contraction of the names of the 2 founders of this division, Naomi Benson and Alfred Milgram, hence Beam. They were responsible, some folk might know them, for kicking off the infamous Horus series, which began with 1982's Hungry Horus. It's a ZX Spectrum Pac-In game. Plays a bit like Pac-Man. I say infamous Horus series because recent going-ons with ownership over the rights to it have been a fucking nightmare. And also, it was just a very crude mascot for the ZX Spectrum back in the day. But there are people in the UK who will swear by it, sort of a Bartleby's Lumpkin situation, if you will. But you will find people who swear by it. More importantly to me, what I think is infinitely more historic and more significant is the 1982 text adventure take on The Hobbit that Beam Software were responsible for developing, distributing, which went on to become a million-selling title and basically like one of the most innovative text adventures of all time. It would parse whole sentences back in 1982, and obviously following the plot of the Tolkien novel, it had a wide range of things you could do in fantastical settings and vivid descriptions. Really one of the most important text adventure games ever made. So Beam Software has that to their credit. What they also have to their credit is 1985's The Way of the Exploding Fist, which arguably defined or helped to define the foundation for the one-on-one fighting game, at least as it existed on home computers. This is not to be confused with, you might look at the screenshot and think, oh, is this System 3's International Karate, which was another major home computer one-on-one fighter for a time? Or you might even look at this and think, is this Technos' Karate Champ? And the answer is that no, this is its own thing, but it is in fact a ripoff of Karate Champ, as is International Karate. Really, Technos' Karate Champ in 1984 was really like the first beat 'em up, and these games were drawing obvious inspo from it. But these games did very well being home computer games, and you know, obviously there were maybe some attempts to bring Karate Champ officially to home computers or consoles or whatever, but those weren't widely available on like the C64 or ZX Spectrum or whatever else. Point is, Way of the Exploding Fist here does very well financially and critically for Beam Software, and seeing that success, Beam Software decides to stick with this fighting game thing a little longer, see if they couldn't iterate on it a little bit. And one of the first major iterations is Fist 2, The Legend Continues in 1986, pictured here, which, unlike the first game, which is a series of one-on-one fights, it's with karate rules. You play as one guy, you fight the same guy ad infinitum, who gets progressively more difficult as you're going up the ranks of Black Belt. This game here is really one of the first beat-em-ups ever. This predates Double Dragon in arcades, which came out in 1987. This predates Neketsu Koha Konyo-kun, also known as Renegade, which comes out in 1986. So this beats that to the punch by at least a few months, I believe, which makes it probably like one of the more important seminal beat-em-ups of all time. It has some side-scrolling, it has a wider variety of enemies, it has some labyrinthian level design, which I fucking hate, it has fetch questing, it has things that make it not exactly the most imminently playable game, in my opinion, but this was seen as massively innovative, it was massively successful, it would basically like establish Beam Software's reputation. If it hadn't been established already, this game really cemented it. So good for Beam Software, good for folk who like this game. It ain't me. I'll take a Bruce Lee on Commodore 64 any day of the week. Brief aside, in 1988, there's Exploding Fist Plus. I'm picturing the ZX Spectrum version here because I like this title screen, this janky-ass looking title screen, this smug-looking guy on the left. Which, this is a more or less an improved iteration on the original Way of the Exploding Fist. With a twist, now there's a 3-combatant combat mode, so there's 3 fighters on screen at the same time. It's a one-on-one-on-one fighting game, which is just blatantly an effort to rip off International Karate Plus, again developed by System 3, released a year prior in 1987, basically just chasing that thunder. But that's the thing. And the thing that's not spoken of, that people won't admit or confess to, is that really the large bulk of Beam Software's games were just kind of rip-offs of other games in the market. Were kind of just their own takes, whether it was like converting arcade games that weren't getting officially converted, or even just ripping off other home computer games. I mean, what is Horus if not just a Pac-Man ripoff, followed by a Frogger ripoff, and so on and so forth. So, yeah, Beam Software, maybe not the most original of developers. Sure, you have something like The Hobbit, which is genuinely innovative, and there's a few other games in the catalog. Obviously, not everything they did was completely derivative, but a lot of it was. Let's not kid ourselves here. Now, getting back to 1985. Beam releases Rockin' Wrestle for the Amstrad CPC, Commodore 64, and ZX Spectrum, followed by conversions to the Apple II and IBM DOS compatibles in 1986. But when they come over to North America, when it makes that transition to North American home computers, the game is rebranded as Bop'n Wrestle. I'm not entirely sure why. It hasn't been described why. I would speculate that the rock and wrestling connection that the WWF was kicking off at the time, maybe rock and wrestle was a little too similar to that, so they had to sort of rebrand so they weren't seen as potentially infringing on anything. But just for a very...
Does that have anything to do with the rock and sock connection?
Yes, Mick Foley, actually, the third playable character in this game, and it's a curious thing. It predates his wrestling career, but no, it's... I will say that there is a plot to this game. There is a one-sentence plot written in the manual for it, so there is actually a named character here, and that character's name is Gorgeous George. I almost said Gorgeous George. Gorgeous Greg. You are Gorgeous Greg, the 10th ranked contender for the World Championship belt. Can you wrestle your way to the top? And boy, howdy could you. Wide variety of moves on offer in this game, different combinations of the joystick and directions, and pressing the singular button you would have on your joystick will allow for a variety of wrestling moves. So it was impressive for its variety of attack options, as you would hope a wrestling game of this era was. This is definitely a cut above games the likes of, I don't know, like some of the WWF stuff that was coming out on the NES at the time, even some of the arcade stuff, like, the arcade version of Tag Team Wrestling or whatever. So, Beam Software taking a step in the right direction here. Now, building on elements that they've been developing between Fist and Rockin' Wrestle, when the Fist series, the idea of it being a more side-scrolling thing, that proto beat-em-up, and Rockin' Wrestle offering a wide variety of moves, we finally get to Bop'n Rumble, released in 1997 on MS-DOS and C64. The games here, the packages would promote an Apple II version of the game as well. I don't think that version exists. I could not find a single trace of it, even though they have controls laid out for it in the manual to one of the versions of this game. Can't find it. I'm convinced it doesn't actually exist and never actually released.
Now, I'm pretty sure I did have Bop'n Rumble as a kid, actually.
Did you?
It was like a stick and a button, and it said bop it, and you hit the button, and it said rumble, and then you hit someone with the stick, right?
Yeah, that's like the Tiger Electronics version of it, as I'm to understand it. When you bop it, when you punch the thing, that's like punching in the game. So, they got really abstract with it, really surreal with it. But, I appreciate the effort on their part to bring that experience home. Stupid bit.
Yeah.
So, here's the thing. This game comes out, like I said, on DOS and C64.
I mean, it's better. It's better than my other skit, which was trying to incorporate poppin' music into a fighting game somehow.
Yeah, that's a bit of a deep cut. Yeah, no, actually, you know what? Our audience, they know what's up. Probably the most of them. Thank you for resubbing Magic Meows.
Me too. You.
Hey, Bop It fans out there. Hey, Bop It heads.
So, because at this point, Beam Software couldn't help but rename games they couldn't help themselves but to rename the games when they re-released them in different regions for different computers and so forth. So when they release it in Europe on the C64, it's known as Street Hassle. When it's released on MS-DOS in North America, it's Bad Street Brawler. So yes, this is the game that we are talking about today. This is, in fact, the first version, the original version of the game that we'll be focusing on today.
This cover art looks like some sort of political cartoon where I have no idea what the leaning of the person who drew it is.
They're an anarchist, baby. They hate everyone and everything, all systems, all laws. You want me to give you the plot to this one as described on the back of the Commodore 64 box?
Go for it.
Granny's under attack. Yes, helpless little old ladies can't walk the streets in safety, with hordes of yo-yos like new wave gangsters, motorcycle madmen, breakdancers, gorillas, And other creeps that
Gorillas.
threaten the streets, we need a hero with tremendous wit, daring, and courage. Someone who owns a pair of gold spandex shorts to save the day. But where, oh where, can such a hero be found? You got it. The world champion, hairy-chested macho man of Bop'n Wrestle, Gorgeous Greg. This one's for you. Maneuver Greg as he faces down an array of turkeys so big and bad they make pro wrestlers look like Sunday school teachers. Fight your way through all levels to save the grannies and become the hero of the city. Ay, ay, ay. So this is
like that WWF Game Boy game.
Betrayal. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a direct follow-up to Bop'n Wrestle, Rockin' Wrestle, whatever you want to call it, in that it was originally slated to star Gorgeous Greg returning from that game. So the C64 version, I believe, is the Target version. We're going to start with the MS-DOS version. This is the first one we're going to play. We're going to sample a little bit of, released as Bad Street Brawler, again, North America. I have my reasons. We'll get to them in time. I do want to say that the plot as written in this version of the game is slightly different. That's going to be another consistent thread here. And not only did they rename the game, rebrand the game, they made a small handful of changes with every version as well, mostly plot related. So the plot to this MS-DOS one, back of the box reads, "Look out! The city streets are overrun with gangsters and gorillas, muggers and madmen. No one is safe, not even defenseless little old grannies." They're really hitting that granny point home.
Mm-hmm.
With chaos and confusion on all sides, we need help, and fast. In the midst of this mayhem, you arrive on the scene, dressed in running shorts and armed only with your quick wits and lightning-fast reflexes. Using every move in the book, from wrestling throws to karate kicks, you take to the streets to let those thugs have it. You've got what it takes, so use it to single-handedly flatten all opponents in this action-packed fight to the finish. Features excitement, surprises, and a chance to be a real hero. In case it wasn't obvious, these games are intended to be somewhat tongue-in-cheek. These play like a parody of the beat-em-up genre, but at a time where there really wasn't a beat-em-up genre, which makes it a little interesting that very early on, in 86, we're already sort of playing with, or sorry, it's 87, we're already sort of playing with genre convention and such. And we'll see that as we get into this first version of the game, which I'm launching now.
So would you say this is like a Western Bakage?
To an extent, in that it's attempting to be funny, and like much Bakage, it hits or misses, to say the least. Look at this cracked row screen.
Oh yeah,
God bless it. Yeah, bring it back, I say. Let me make sure I'm just showing you this game window specifically, rather than. Actually, you know what? This is going to change resolution a couple times, so you're going to have to suffer it like this. I'm sad to say, Charkie.
Have you ever run across a track where they have like the Cheers 2 section and then there's a Jeers 2 section?
I like it when they say fuckings too. I've seen that a few times. I also want to point out one thing that Video Game King, I'm going to let the demo play on this so you can get some early glimpses of the game. Video Game King mentions the unfortunate racial politics of riffing on the inner city crime craze of the 80s, because that's what this is doing, by conflating criminals with gorillas. No,
I mean,
that's a bit of a
literal gorillas,
and there's little racist characters in this game too. Not to the like super extremes. Like on the covers, you can, Australian developers, folks, in the '87. But we will get to some of that shortly. Oh, nope, that's not what I want actually. Hold on. Wait, no, yes it is. It is? It is. Okay. I need to remember the controls for this. That's the problem. All right, arrow keys. Is it spacebar to attack?
You're currently losing to a blind man. Okay.
Here we go. All right, it's enter and it's the arrow keys. You hold down the enter button, and then depending on your input, you will do one of 4 different moves per stage. Every level, the moves you have change. That's their way of getting around the limited inputs of a joystick from back in the day. See this old lady? We don't want to hit them. Even though we get points for doing it, even though we're rewarded for doing so, the old ladies are who we're meant to protect here, so we can just walk past them. If we attack them, they will attack back. If we attack too many of them, they all instantly aggro for the rest of the stage or rest of the game.
So like the Kukos in Legend of Zelda.
Yeah, pretty much.
Pro Psycher asks, is that character Hulk Hogan? No, that character is Gorgeous Greg.
Yeah, who is definitely like based on a Hulk Hogan. If you saw that cover image on the C64 version, the Bop'n Rumble release, you can see that they were clearly, yeah.
The name is definitely based on Gorgeous George.
Yes. So they're trying to like crosswire. They're trying to keep it like not based on one person in particular to the point where someone could sue.
I'm not like too soon to actually be the case, but he reminds me more of like Sid Vicious.
I could see that. So this tripping move is not good. I'm going to stop using it.
You don't want to tickle these blind men?
Not particularly. Not if they tickle back with their walking sticks and beat the shit out of me. Can you read messages from chat, especially Johnny Bagheads, while I pet this nice dog? God damn it! The old lady I accidentally pet or tried to trip her, and then she kicked my ass. Oh,
Johnny says, "I'm guessing this is after Double Dragon 1 came out, but what is the time difference between this and that releasing?"
This is either a couple months before or a couple months after, but either way, it definitely could not use Double Dragon as reference. They would have been unaware of it, for the most part. Maybe Renegade they could have used as a little bit of reference, but this fucking dog... What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use the trip move on the dog, and it'll say, good dog, and then it'll just walk away. They'll get bored of attacking you. But for whatever reason... Oh, the reason is because the hit detection in this game is fucking terrible, just to be clear. I didn't know my dander was going to get raised immediately on this, but sure enough. Let it be known, this doesn't feel great as a beat-em-up. Also, the old ladies are mad at me? I didn't... Fine, fuck it, whatever. Go to hell, old lady. There we go.
Nice boy.
And now I don't need to worry about fighting them. Oh, Jesus Christ! Alright, come on over.
Off-screen Oswald strikes again.
Oh my god, thank god, we got a stage complete. We got a stage under our belts. By the way, folks, please let me know how the volume is on this. DOS games can be a little shrill, to say the least. You're right, I'm just gonna kill every old lady. I'm sorry. They're too dangerous to deal with. They get in the way, and you get points for beating them up, so ultimately, like, you're denying yourself a high score by protecting these old ladies.
These old ladies are too dangerous to let wander the streets.
See, now we have an ear twist move, which we can use as a grab, and if we hold it, we can drain their health.
Oh, I thought you were, like, throttling them by the neck like Homer Simpson or something.
You would think so, but I believe the manual, at least the NES manual, refers to this as the ear twist. This crouch pose, by the way. The subject of much mockery. Okay, well, now we're fucked. See that guy in the trench coat? He will drop bombs or hearts. If he drops bombs, they're like the bombs in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and that they are almost impossible to avoid taking damage from.
Yeah, I noticed you were as far away as you could possibly get from it.
Not far enough.
She's still angry at you. Guess they're just all angry at you forever.
I suppose so. Again, whatever. Points. This kick is definitely our most effective move. It turns out the most effective moves are the ones that have a range on them, because when everything is melee, you just want to avoid being as close as possible, as often as possible. Okay, well, can I... Nope.
Nope.
Just nothing I could do. And it ain't like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde where you can go inside the buildings. Gorilla.
Ooh.
Bad. Bad indeed.
But a good score.
Sure, good enough is. That's the MS-DOS version of Bad Street Brawler. To be clear, this is largely identical to the C64 version, to the Bop'n Rumble release on C64. Some people will say this game is okay, maybe. Maybe if you grew up with this. Maybe if you didn't know what a beat-em-up was in 1987 and this was your first one, it was okay. But, yeesh. Rough, to say the least. So the reason we started with that DOS version is because we actually are going to go to the C64 version now, but not the original C64 release, I want to show a change that is made between versions of the game here. Which is to say, we are going to play the European Commodore 64 release, known as Street Hassle, the first one to be known as Street Hassle. You can see Gorgeous Greg on the cover here, looking a little less like a pro wrestler, looking a little less like the Gorgeous Greg we're familiar with. That's because this isn't Gorgeous Greg. This is just some unnamed guy now. But as we get into the game, you'll notice a alteration to the sprite that is first established in this version of the game, this European release, and I believe this is 88. So we'll get this launched shortly. And it's going to be in Vice.
I don't know how to defend what I'm about to say, but Street Hassle is such a European name for this game.
Having an old hassle on the street, then. Yeah, I want to full frame this. Alright. Let me go ahead and switch this to keyboard, which I have all the keyboard inputs mapped to my DualSense here, too, to get this to where I need it to be. But, yeah, Street Hassle. Let's get into it. Short hair. Still shirtless, but short hair. And again, this is going to be identical to the MS-DOS version, to the original C64 release, other than the short hair. I just really wanted to show the short hair version of Greg, or as we'll come to know him later, Duke. And still no mercy for old ladies in this.
The Dr. Cat Jail says that's a Lou Reed album too, Street Hassle, and yeah, it is, 1978.
Potentially inspired by? Oh, wait, no, 1988, so this game would have predated that.
No, 1978
oh,
is when the album came out.
I see.
No, Lou Reed did not play this game and go, wait a minute.
I have an idea. A horrible idea.
Lulu, let me call up Metallica right away. I'm okay with that album.
Hey, thanks, old lady. You fucking schmuck.
Here's my hot take. Here's my hot take of the stream. Lulu's an alright album. I don't go out of my way to listen to it, but I'll listen to it.
Yes, but how do you feel about Saint Anger?
Would have been better if the drums weren't shit. But that's like saying that I'd be talking better if I didn't have a ball gag stuffed in my mouth.
Fuck that. Let's just... These dogs are bullshit. There we go. It requires perfect timing, which I wasn't going to get naturally, so... Fuck it. Cheat. Give me some health. No? Alright, go to hell then. It's... You can never count on these guys to drop health for you. They'll usually just drop a bomb and screw you over, or they'll just drop nothing at all, which is somehow even worse. Yep, see, there it is. Full heal. I do want to see if I can get to, like, stage 5 on this. It's quick enough.
Cute.
These stages aren't particularly long.
I like his swagger.
Oh yeah, he's got moxie.
Uh-oh. It's Paddington Bear again.
I think he's meant to be like a flasher. Like, you know, to be like the trench coat that they're revealing, you know, and...
Okay. He is definitely Paddington Bear, though. Like, even if he's not supposed to be Paddington Bear, he is Paddington Bear.
What happens if I just hold this?
You run out of time.
And let's help him back up. Great.
Okay.
No good deed goes unpunished. See, that's my up attack there, is I do a... Let's do it with the gorilla. Oh, nope. I did not realize there's an old lady behind the gorilla there.
Very, very visible nipples on those gorillas.
Dance with me, partner. Just look into my eyes.
I had the time of my life.
And I owe it all to you, dirty bit. There's clearly a superior version of that song. Thank you, Black Eyed Peas. It's... Ay, ay, ay. The ability to get comboed by old men with walking canes in this is... I can't believe I'm having to duck purses being tossed by an old lady in this game.
Like, I think that's a white cane and not like a walking stick.
Could be an umbrella for all we know.
Actually, wait, does it have like a curved handle? It's hard to tell.
It's hard to tell because this is a C64 game. There's not a lot of pixels to work with, especially because, you know, something I will give credit for is that Beam Software are doing pretty big sprites here for C64 for this era of game, which allows for a lot of detail, and it was definitely like one of their trademarks as a developer. Oh, fuck this. There we go. Like, the problem is when you have more than one enemy on screen, the game becomes untenable in a lot of situations, in a lot of scenarios, in a lot of fights. Which is a problem.
I feel like you should be rewarded health for, like, pacifying the dog. What's up, Paddington? What you got for us? Nothing?
The trip is almost completely useless, because all it does is stop them in their tracks for a little bit, which gives other enemies chances to walk up to you and beat the shit out of you. So not the most practical move in our arsenal, and yet, I think it's one that we have in every stage.
Tickle, tickle.
Fuck's sake.
Oh, well. Oh, hey! You
What the fuck?! I got literally as far as is possible. The screen stopped scrolling.
It was not on the screen anymore. It was gone.
Tickle, tickle, tickle!
Like he fucking casted doom on you.
And that was the last of the silverback gorillas. They went extinct after we after we destroyed the last one roaming the streets there. Check out this move.
Doesn't seem great.
It's great, actually, because it moves us forward. And we can just do this. Some moves better than others. Not everything designed equally, as it turns out in this game.
I do like... Maybe it's not practical, but I really do like the gimmick of every stage has a different moveset.
Yes, it's an idea. And that's what I meant by, like, you know, this crossing, them learning from the wrestling game and the beat-em-up games they were putting out. Because I think, like, the wrestling game taught them. I think Bop'n Rumble, Rock and Wrestle taught them. Or not Bop'n Wrestle. God, it sucks when they both have such similar names. Eventually,
Bop'n Rock and
Robots. But, you know, they learned from that having a variety of moves and that would entice players, that players like that variety, and so they endeavored to find a way to put it in a beat-em-up of this nature. And yes, it's a very clumsy way of doing it, to be sure. They could have just... Well, I was going to say they could have utilized more keys, but remember that the joysticks of this era, that wasn't necessarily a tenable option when all you had was a single button. All right, breakdancer. And they can make us dizzy if they spin past us. Luckily, this the chest bump move... Well, let me go ahead. I'm just going to win this fight, if you don't mind. The chest bump moves gives us iframes, so we can clear the breakdance move and do damage to them at the same time. Very convenient. Stop tossing purses, old lady. Do you want me to save your life or not? Do you want me to save you from this old man? Well, I guess I can't.
Like, on the MS-DOS box art, it like looked like you were teaming up with the grannies too.
Yeah, I mean,
like
again, like these boxes really stressed like saving them, helping them, but they are a hassle on these streets, to be sure. That's the C64 version of Street Hassle. Let's move right along to Street Hassle. This time on the ZX Spectrum. Which is, you know, probably was going to be one of the biggest platforms, then one of the most lucrative platforms you could have published for at that time. So this move was definitely a long time coming. It took them a year to get it on here. But it is not the same game. There is a twist here. No longer would the game star Gorgeous George, or Gorgeous Greg even, or any version thereof. We'll now put you in the shoes of an unnamed ex-high school teacher who's, quite literally, no other way to put this, suffered a psychotic break. I'm going to read the back of the box to you. He was a high school teacher until they pushed him too far. In a city gone wild, chaos stalks the streets and sometimes other people's backyards. In the middle of all this, one man awakens to the fact that he is a hero, the only man who can protect the innocent. In a world where peaceful grannies cannot walk the streets in safety, it is up to our hero to clean up the town. Thus armed only with the power of his naked fists, wearing a pair of golden battle shorts, and with his brain in neutral, our hero strides forth to do battle with anyone who will still stand long enough, or who will stand still long enough to let him, content in his heart that he is right. Here's the thing. This game is legitimately troubling, where the previous versions were, kind of frivolous, fun, goofy. This one is much the same game, much the same enemies. Sprite works a little different, being a ZX Spectrum game, using that limited color palette. Has a hell of a title screen, I'll tell you that much too. But you'll want to pay close attention to a text ticker at the bottom of the screen. And some of the messages, which I assume are meant to be the inner monologue of our character here. And
or programmers.
Could be. Either way, who's to say? Yeah, I guess we're doing this. I will press any
Now,
key.
are you a Kempston joystick kind of person or a Sinclair joystick
Kempston
kind
is
of
usually
person?
the most compatible. Oh, this is the demo. Now we're in the real game. All right, here's our guy. Looking a little different.
What software needs is designer violence.
Old men looking like Andy Warhol in this, and they even toss cans of soup at you, so...
Now, that's a normal cane. That's a walking stick.
Much the same system of attacks and so forth.
Kind of look like Razor Ramon, the Japanese one.
I want to feel bones twisting.
So yeah, little different tonally, even with much the same enemies, much the same attacks, much the same premise.
Good boy. Good boy.
Much the same everything else. Just the addition of that one element completely changes the tone of the game, doesn't it?
It's a little straight. Again, that very first message makes you think that maybe this is the programmer's inner monologue.
Possibly. Keep on scrolling.
Think of it as urban renewal.
Yeah, that's where it starts to get like the a little more troubling. Also, I think this version skipped the title screen, which is good because it has a unflattering depiction of a basketball player, let's say.
It makes you clever, too.
And throw a temper tantrum.
Getting a postal feel out of what they're going for now.
Honk if you want to die.
Video Game King saying, a step closer to Franco the Crazy Revenge. Ha! You don't know how close you are. You don't even know how on the money you are. Unless you do, in which case, good on you. But
I don't have a honk soundboard thing. I don't have like a clown honk.
So yeah, Video Game King, stay tuned. And then you will find a revelation towards the end of this stream. Are we near the end of this godforsaken stage of this godforsaken game?
I really like the ZX Spectrum's color palette of unfinished coloring book.
Yeah, it's hard to have multiple colors on screen on the ZX Spectrum, as it turns out. It's hard to make a game that feels fluid and good as well. And boy, howdy, is that coming through.
Johnny says, is this the first Joker-pilled video game ever made?
We missed a quote there, but yes, I'm going to say yes.
Oh, no, I read that quote before.
Okay, good.
I'm not reading repeats.
That's a good policy. Oh, big old gorilla.
This is the class of person I was meant to kill.
What, gorillas? It's not a class of person, you doofus. This guy was supposed to be an ex-teacher.
Go to hell, Coco.
Learn sign language in hell.
My brain just buzzed and buzzed and buzzed.
Take that, Andy Warhol. So yeah, this is honestly maybe the worst version of the game in terms of playability.
I don't care if I go blind. I don't need to see the price tag. Crime swallows like a microphone stand. What?
Yeah, that one always was curious. I wonder if that's like a song lyric or something. I have no idea. Throw another temper tantrum. So what we're not going to see is that if you get to like stage 5 in these games, the game loops. Effectively, you'll start seeing the same backgrounds. You know, as distinct as they've been. I mean, you know, very noticeable. But then I think they start to incorporate like maybe like tougher enemies at different points in the loop as well. So there's minimum of variety. These ranged attacks are particularly brutal. God damn it, I'm too close. Which means I have to suffer horrible, just wretched in terms of playability. Just I'm thinking Arby's. No, I'm thinking about your burial.
I'm thinking about your burial.
You know, fuck this, I'm rewinding. Because I... Ugh. There we go. Throttle that man. Drops a bottle of booze. I don't know if you can pick that up. I've never found a way to actually interact with that. If it hurts, if it helps, if it hinders. Who's to say? Maybe the manual would say something. I forgot to check that beyond the plot synopsis. Read this one, please.
I missed it.
I can feel the spiders in my brain. Yeah. Again, just unhinged in a way that, you know, they were being deliberate about, that they were obviously intending for, that they wanted to get across that this character has lost the plot. And, you know, mission accomplished. All right, so I was dealing with the bananas getting tossed in rapid succession by the gorilla, and then the old lady. At least the checkpoints in this game are semi-functional. Also, I don't think I even have a chance to not engage the old ladies in this. I think they are just, like, instantly aggroed. Which adds another layer of difficulty to the game, let's say. Especially if you're fool enough to help them.
Smoking that Whoopi Goldberg South Egyptian Fur Burger Deluxe Mega Million Scratcher Skunk Bubba Kush.
Fuck this cheat.
Wow, this is getting really weird.
Prescient, though. There we go. That's not the end of the stage? What more shit do you have for me? Where's left to go from here, game? The dinosaurs had tiny brains, too. Does that to imply that we have a tiny brain? State of the education
people
system.
We're going after. I Am Hitful says, I just noticed the Wikipedia page for Bad Street Brawler references Bad Game Hall of Fame.
We died, but we also won. We died on the last screen, so we get to proceed to the next. Lucky us. And yeah, I think there's a couple Wikipedia articles that cite Bad Game Hall of Fame as a high-quality reference, as a high-quality source. Thank you very much. Best writer in the Bad Games game.
Pro Striker 92 says, we live in a society, the game.
Death before dishonor. Truer words have never been spoken, I guess. I want to see if I can get, like, one more enemy type here, but...
Jeez, good luck. How you got this?
Check out this kick. Still have the pet. We still have a grab of some sort, but the kick might be our most valuable move. Or not.
Yep. Nope.
Maybe it's just completely useless, like half the moves in this game. God, you know, playing this and then knowing what we're going to play later tonight, this is really making me appreciate the NES version that this episode is ostensibly centered around.
Whoever said home sweet home was a Labrador.
Huh?
You know, we made the Duke Nukem comparison earlier, and all these like weird quotes. And if you say them in the Duke Nukem voice, and just like if you imagine the original version of our main character, the gorgeous Greg design, it really starts to put something together for you. It's going to be even more apparent in the NES version. That's as much of the ZX Spectrum version of Street Hassle as I'm willing to play for stream.
I just muted myself for like a good 15 seconds trying to see, do I have a Duke Nukem in me?
Damn, no. Those old ladies are gonna pay for something.
Whoever said home sweet home is a Labrador.
That's good enough. That's good enough for a impression. That's good enough for to stay, fucking around or whatever.
Get LGR in here. We haven't alienated him yet, right?
Not yet. We're working on it. Main event time. Bad Street Brawler on the Nintendo Entertainment System, released 1989. Beam Software realizes that bringing Bad Street Brawler to the NES, and specifically North America, would probably be a lucrative move. Would probably be a financially wise decision. Here's the problem. Mindscape Inc., who had published previous versions and variants of Bad Street Brawler, Street Hassle, Bop'n Rumble et al., they weren't in a position to publish a game on NES. Despite the huge success of their conversion of Paperboy to the NES, despite having a few other successful NES games under their belt, Mindscape elects not to publish this one. My best guess, as I speculated in my previous article, purely speculation, is that having published versions of Bad Street Brawler across the home computer market, everyone always talks about Nintendo and their limit on how many games a publisher could publish for the NES in the course of a year, right? There's another rule that people don't talk about. They have a 2-year exclusivity rule at this time. And one of them is 2-year exclusivity rule that says that games produced for the NES would be available exclusively on the NES for a 2-year period. And that works in reverse as well, that games that were coming out for home computer or other competing consoles would have to wait 2 years to come to the NES. This, of course, was barely enforced based on the number of arcade conversions to the console that people were putting out. But you can find that rule written somewhere. And I think they just selectively enforced it when they thought to themselves, well, we're going to punish people for daring to publish on other platforms before coming to ours. So it's Nintendo being petty, as they so often do. So anyway, Beam Software has to find a new publisher for this game, and they decide to go to Mattel, Mattel's interactive division, which had a very close working relationship with Nintendo, funnily enough, so they kind of realized they could bypass whatever stuff Nintendo was putting in place by buddying up with the publisher closest to Nintendo at this time. Mattel, at this point, had a working relationship with Nintendo where they were distributing the hardware and software NES games and cartridges in Canada and Europe until 1990. So they headed distribution and manufacturing for that stuff on Nintendo's behalf. So by Beam Software going to Mattel, they would effectively guarantee a release for their game, because Nintendo's not going to say no to Mattel, and they'd probably get some preferential placement for it in advertising campaigns and marketing, just because they were so tight that Nintendo would probably be like, yeah, we'll do you solid, we'll promote this game, we'll make sure that your sales are so-and-so. Couple catches here in publishing for the NES, in signing with Mattel. For one thing, all those troubling ramblings and potentially innocent civilians that we were seen beating up on in Street Hassle, that all has to get cleaned up, probably for the best.
That's easy. Like,
the Goombas are squirming in my brain.
See, now it's Nintendo friendly.
Now it's perfect, yeah. It's Shigeru Miyamoto approved. Let me read the plot as it's written on the back of this box here. Law-breaking crooks, thugs, and circus renegades rule the mean streets. It's a real zoo out there. The city is unsafe, and the good citizens live in constant fear. You are Duke Dunnigan, former punk rocker and the world's coolest martial arts vigilante. You are a lean, mean, thug-thrashing machine, returning to your native city streets as the ultimate defender of freedom. There's evil waiting behind every bush, and danger lurking behind every corner. Look out! It's up to you to send the bad guys reeling with furious fist and foot bashing action. It's non-stop martial arts madness. Nail the no-gooders today and watch the street savages scatter. So Duke Dunnigan, contradictory information in the manual where they call him Duke Davis, but Duke nonetheless, with blonde hair and sunglasses and a tendency of misquoting things. Fucking tell me, convince me that George Broussard did not play this game and decide to base Duke Nukem at least partially off of this. Purely speculative. Anyway, other catch. The game would have to support Mattel's ill-fated Power Glove peripheral in an attempt to potentially improve flagging sales for the gimmicky controller. Bad Street Brawler would be a member of the highly exclusive club of 2 games marketed under the Power Glove Gaming Series label alongside 1990's Super Glove Ball. They released 3 other...
I just like how in that material that comes with the Power Glove, one of the things is the big red thing that says, "Stop."
Too late.
No.
You bought it. So there were at least 3 other titles intended for that that line of Power Glove Gaming Series, whatever it was called. There's going to be Glove Pilot, Manipulator Glove Adventure, and The Terror of Tech Town. But with the eventual critical and commercial failures of the Power Glove, maybe you've heard of it, all these games would cease to be, leaving only Super Glove Ball and Bad Street Brawler. And I actually have a quote here from a Mattel engineer, William Novak, who helps to put the odd Power Glove functionality in Bad Street Brawler into perspective. This is from a Mental Floss article titled Losing Their Grip, an oral history of Nintendo's Power Glove, penned by Jake Rawson, who conducted interviews with these people who were responsible for work on the Power Glove. So to quote Will Novak, "I was a software guy, so I was one developing original game titles for use of the Power Glove. One was Super Glove Ball, where you controlled a hand in this 3D space. The other one was some piece of crap title they licensed called Bad Street Brawler. Bad Street was just a side-scrolling beat-em-up. They wanted to launch a game with it, so I tried to make it work with the glove. They paid $30,000 or $40,000 for the rights. It makes me sick to even say the name." So clearly warm, fuzzy feelings about having to work on this game, and clearly nothing but a positive experience working on this NES conversion of Bad Street Brawler and adding Power Glove functionality to it. So when you pair your Power Glove with Bad Street Brawler, you get access to an otherwise inaccessible super move, the Glove Zap, which works kind of like a shmup smart bomb that you can only use once per stage, and it'll just like instantly kill an enemy. But again, only accessible if you have the Power Glove plugged in, because the Power Glove would send inputs to the console, to the NES, that were otherwise impossible. You've ever heard people talk about like left and right, simultaneous left and right inputs on the NES and all the glitches you can accomplish by doing that?
Yeah, it's like this whole in tests, you see that a lot with speedruns.
Yeah, the Power Glove would do that deliberately. The Power Glove would, people would program it, or, you could theoretically program it to do left-right inputs, and in the case of Bad Street Brawler, that is the input you have to do, is a simultaneous left and right to use that special attack. So you literally couldn't do it on a regular controller, or even on like most of the third-party controllers. You would need the Power Glove.
That should make it very possible to do in emulation, though, right?
Yes, we'll get to that. I'm going to quote myself first, real quick. I'm going to quote my Bad Street Brawler article, and let's see what I said back then, however many years ago. The NES was capable of detecting whether or not you had a Power Glove or just a standard controller plugged in, and locked away a feature of the game if you chose to play with your regular controller in hand. But never mind the fact that the Power Glove was a notoriously poor way to control games, or the game locks away on-cartridge content that requires you to pay something like an additional fee to unlock it. The absolute wildest part of all this is, the manual doesn't even mention the existence of this mechanic. It's a feature so secret, not even the folk writing the manual knew it existed. So, you're given a choice here as a player. Either play the game with the odds stacked ridiculously against you and probably die at the hands of an unbalanced enemy, or play the game with crippled controls in order to have a special attack at your disposal. Well, given that the Power Glove only sold around 100,000 units, and the fact that the 2 entries to the Power Glove Gaming Series line of games were both considered commercial flops as well, I guess the choice for most folk was simply to not play the game at all.
Here's my...
You go ahead.
I was going to say, so here's my question. If it's not written in the manual like that this exists, so what is the thing that you would do to activate it using the Power Glove? Is it a motion? Is it a button on the glove itself?
I believe it's a clenched fist. I believe it's like you thrust your fist forward while clenching it. I think there was a piece of paper that came with the Power Glove, like the actual Power Glove itself, that may have had like instructions for Bad Street Brawler and Super Glove Ball and stuff. Or it could have been something inserted into the box. with the game, but it's not written in the manual itself, which goes to show that, manuals written before they had the idea to incorporate the Power Glove. At least in my mind. And, the box itself, the box for Bad Street Brawler says, like, Power Glove Gaming Series, has a picture of the Power Glove on it. So they knew by that point the two would be connected. There's one other feature, by the way, of the Power Glove. You could... Actually, you know what? I'm just going to quote myself again. How about this? The game also hides a bit of other odd Power Glove functionality with a feature on the main menu, which allows glove users to set up one of a number of control schemes intended for other games while Bad Street Brawler is loaded, before giving them 30 seconds to swap out the cartridge for whichever game they want to play, and having their glove pre-set up for it without having to punch in the usual code on the glove's numpad. Yes, this is effectively how Stop and Swap in Banjo-Kazooie was meant to work, albeit to a completely pointless end in Bad Street Brawler. So, Mattel wanted you to plug in Bad Street Brawler as a launcher for other games. You would put in Bad Street Brawler, plug in your glove, select an option from the menu for a control scheme, fucking rip the cartridge out of your console, put another cartridge in, reset the console, do all that within 30 seconds, and then you have a control scheme set up for that game.
So, for context, if you were playing any other game with the Power Glove, like, how would that start up?
You would have to punch in these codes on the numpad on the glove, and they couldn't make like specific control setups for specific games. If you had like a Power Glove that came with a booklet that said, like, here's control schemes that will work for platformer games, here's control schemes that will work for shmups or whatever. To answer Razor Vermillion's question in the chat, no, you don't need two games. This is just that if you have other games in your NES library that you want to play with the Power Glove and you don't want to memorize the codes for them, or if you just like prefer to, I don't know, it's completely pointless. It's just,
or if you start every day by open palm slamming Bad Street Brawler on the NES, and then you realize at the end, like, you know what, I want to play some Mario now, then you have this option available to you to make it easier.
There you go. So yeah, this is a completely pointless feature by every definition, by every metric, but they were struggling. They were stretching to find some ways to justify this game being a quote-unquote Power Glove game. And we're going to play it. God knows I've put it off long enough, but it is time for Bad Street Brawler on the NES, the reason we're all here tonight. So you asked if I can emulate a left-right. I can, in fact, emulate a left-right on this. So we can, even without the Power Glove being recognized here, access that move for what it's worth. Look at this motherfucker.
But just for, immersion, you will be clenching your fists when you do it.
Oh, of course, I'm going to grab the controller super tight and probably snap it in my hands. But it's worth it. I was thinking, like, 2 player.
Every time you use, like, your power-up, you, like, take your hand that's not hitting the button and do like a fist pump, and you're like, yeah!
So 2-player mode in this game, before anyone asked me to torture Charkie with it, it's just alternating single player. It's just alternating taking turns in the way that so many classic arcade games were, so pointless. Okay, here's the thing. We still have the mechanic where A, B, AB do different attacks, which, handy enough. And you can test out what moves you have. You can get an idea of what moves you have on this screen. Want to see something cool? Want to see something fucked up? Ho! That's the glove zap. That's
now,
the left and right.
Cass, never trouble till trouble troubles you.
That's the other thing, is that every screen, every one of these stage introductions has one of these quotes, which I think are riffs on or versions of actual quotes from like poems and such, but rephrased in the classic Duke Nukem way to make absolutely no sense or to lose the initial meaning or whatever the case may be. Also, you'll notice that this is the sprite from the European Street Hassle Commodore 64 version. We're back to short-haired protagonist here. Now he's wearing a shirt, too, to boot.
Also, I will not be leaning into the microphone to growl these quotes. They don't seem as threatening as the other ones. Oh, can you not good dog those dogs? Also,
not in this stage.
Good foreground. Good foreground.
Yeah, just the first thing you see is literally something obstructing your view. Have you noticed the deal with these circus strongmen yet?
They get the sheep beat out of them real quick. Also, they're old ladies reskinned.
Yes. They have removed the old ladies, removed the ability to beat up the old ladies. They have been replaced by these circus strongmen who you have no choice but to beat.
I mean, finally, one of these games where you don't beat up the grannies that you're told to protect.
This is so much more imminently playable than the ZX Spectrum
It looks
version.
like it.
And the DOS version,
like
and the
it.
C64 version.
Oh, and he dropped you some health. Do they still drop bombs occasionally?
Yes, but I think they're a lot more dodgeable in this. Oh, here's a random punk. You might want to open up the manual. There's a link at the top of the show notes. It's a PDF.
Oh, sure.
They have names for all the enemies and descriptions of them, so that might be fun to reference. What you can do in this game, by the way, while you're getting that up, is you can just skip every enemy encounter. Just walk past everyone and everything. Get to the end of the stage. Get to these mid-bosses. So you can forfeit score, and we will be doing that later in the game as health becomes more precarious. More of a resource where you need to preserve preciously.
By the way, you didn't name his moves correctly. He doesn't have moves per se. He has force moves.
Oh, I'm so
according to the
sorry.
manual.
Yeah, toss up that banana.
footwork
Make sure that
force
banana's
moves.
off the streets. That dangerous banana. Put it in the dumpster where it belongs, Duke. You fucking hero.
The race is not always to the swiftest, nor the battle to the strongest. But that's the way the bet.
What a truly
life
stupid quote.
advice.
Just truly nonsense. Horrible advice on all these streets.
That makes sense.
I mean, it does. It's just like, what's the point? It's like, yeah, bet on the person who's going to win, who's most likely to win.
But hey, that punk you fought was named baseball player. He swings a mean bat. 3 strikes and you're out. You're knocked out. I'm sorry. Also, the circus strongman you fought was called a punk.
Oh yeah,
Big
because
surprises
this
come
guy
in
with the
small
spiked
packages.
hair, not a punk. That's a baseball player. And the circus
baseball
strongman,
player.
that's a punk. That's a classic punk
That's
if
a
I've
punk.
ever seen one. You ever been to the clubs, seen those punk bands play live, and all the circus strongmen in the audience are swinging around their balls and chains?
Yes.
All right, well there you go. This kick's pretty good.
I feel like there was a definite value tonight. So, monkey. That was the gorilla.
Oh, you don't
bad
say.
Circus, a big bad circus escapee who throws bananas. It was not a biker, though, which would have fit in line with how they're naming everything else.
Yeah, just getting it completely wrong. Like everything needs to be shifted down a page.
They say a dog's bark is worse than its bite. Not in this case. So says the manual. Anyway, I think there's been a value tonight to playing all the other games first, because it's easy to play this and say, like, yeah, this is a bad NES game, but you play the games that came before and go like, man, this is fine.
Yeah, no, really. It has its issues, to be sure. We will get into some of those, but like, instantly like more forgiving, more fluid. Feels like a billion times better.
By the
And
way,
it's
that
also
guy
way
who-
funnier.
That guy who I've been calling Pen Bear and you've been calling a flasher, according to the manual here, he's a spy.
Sure. Because I
Oh,
can't
you're
reference
cleaning up
flashers
litter.
in an NES game. Yes, you have to sit through this. Every time.
Friends come and go, but enemies accumulate.
Stooge it. Why, I oughta. Classic arm spin.
So,
I'm fully aware of what
friends
I'm
come and
doing.
go, but enemies accumulate. So, anyone you've ever been an enemy with will always be your enemy.
Evidently,
Life
forgive and
is-
never forget. I need to
Yeah.
drink up, by the way. Thank you, Frank Gothic. I definitely need it.
I don't care if you.
Oh, sweet tequila, take me away.
Not.
Bobinator Redeem, say something nice.
Right.
This is so much better than the ZX Spectrum version. So much better than the C64 version.
Yeah. This seems like, so far, the best version of this game.
And this is the one that everyone hates. This is the one that's written off in the history books. This is the one that's infamous. Which just goes to show that fucking America really is number one. That we get the best shit and that the Europeans can suck it.
You're saying Horace isn't like a great mascot character?
No, I'm saying if you've seen Horace,
I have seen Horace. I have, in fact, over the course of this stream, been going around to different Discord servers to showing off Horace to people.
very good. I'm glad I could inspire that in you. You know what? Let's just get to the edge of the screen here. Oh my god. Big old gorilla.
Bob says, don't talk about Horace, you'll get sued. Yeah, okay, I'll stop.
I'll say
Good
this.
point.
Fuck the people who own Horace. Fuck the rights holders of Horace. They can suck my dick. Fucking losers. Litigious fucking dweebs arguing over the crudest sprite ever drawn. I'm gonna cheat here because I thought I could, like, dodge the bomb by going to the left, but clearly that is not the case. Let's go right instead. The shit they did to YouTubers...
If this was any of the other versions, by the way, if this was any other version of this game, that bomb would explode right now and you'd die.
Yes.
But you were saying about YouTubers.
The way they went after YouTubers, the Horace rights holders, the way they harassed one YouTuber I'm particularly a fan of, who I don't know what their current username is. I think they've actually left the internet because of the fucking harassment they suffered at the hands of the Horace rights owner. Yeah, just fuck him forever. Horace sucks, and the guy who created Horace sucks.
When I was grabbing like all the Horace box arts, they were fake ones.
Did you see that guy moonwalking away, by the way? Just to show that again?
Yeah.
Very good.
When I was grabbing like the Horace box arts, they were fake ones up, and I really could not tell that they were fake at first.
Ay, ay, ay! Okay, what do they want me to do here? Maybe the kick? Yeah, okay. Yeah, I should have been using the kick. Why was I doing anything besides the kick? That's on me.
I like how I was using a ball and chain to helicopter in the air.
Well, it makes as much sense as using the purse to do it.
Yeah.
Alright, first boss. Alright, how do I hit this guy again? There's a trick to this.
Oh, that's
Alright, the punch is
the
useless.
skateboarder. A bad dude to meet on the street. His sole motivation is to run you down.
What the fuck? Okay, so when he's crouched down, I can't hit him. There we go. All you gotta do is hit these bosses once, usually, and you can lock them into. Well, I was close.
Yeah.
Where does it start us from? Start of the stage? Yeah, we're gonna have to continue cheating here if we want to make it through this game, unfortunately. I know people don't like it when I do the rewind, but it's necessary for showing these games off sometimes, because I'm not good at video games. Also, we have, like, 6 seconds.
Yeah. I was talking about, you know, dealing with littering. Here. Yeah, and the manual does say, do collect weapons from the enemies you defeat to help clean up street crime. Sorry. So yeah, you are, quite literally...
I just want to say
hi, Mom.
The worms in my brain tell me to say hi to my mother.
The mouse that has but one hole is quickly taken. Man, I've been on the internet for too long.
Ear twist, gut knee, and bull ram. I think we're gonna be using the bull ram. Any move that moves you forward is what I gravitate towards. People in the chat are saying they become fans of rewinding things to us. And if that's my legacy, if that's the impact I've had, I'm glad. Everyone should be able to rewind. Everyone should not feel ashamed of rewinding games when they're fucking bullshit. When they waste your time, when they have no respect for your fucking time. Ear twist this guy.
So, in this game, does the ear twist work like the same way as the others, where you just hold it and drain their... Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately I got hit in the head, conked over the head.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, let me go back to the beginning of the stage.
Yes.
I feel like I was just on like a cursed track there.
Yeah. Go back to where it all went wrong.
This move barely does any damage, unfortunately. The bull ram or whatever it's called, but this is actually my best move here. Is
I
just
feel
the
like this
headbutt.
I feel like this is very unrealistic. Like a gorilla
Oh,
would
how
not be
so?
throwing a gorilla would not be throwing his bananas at you.
You know-
That's good food that he's getting rid of.
You know what? You're right. He should be throwing shit at us.
Yes.
Notice how like every move does different amounts of damage too. So there are some that are just like, why would you use any move besides this move over the course of a level?
Well, you know what? That's consider. Think about if you only had like one move set through this game, and you're like, "Oh, I'm only going to use this one move through the entire game." But now, like every level, you're like, "Okay, what's the
Oh
one
my
move
God,
I
I'm
used for
stun
this
locked.
level?"
Ugh! See, that's why people don't like this game, I think. It's shit like that, where you get completely stuck and lose an entire health bar in a course of seconds, that I think predisposes people to not love this game so much. I think it's why Sean Baby might not have liked it. And yes, we will get to that later, because I know there was some mention of Sean Baby in the chat. Yes, of course we're getting to that. Oh my god! See, that was almost funny. That's almost a good gag. I want to see that again. Big guy comes out, drops off a little guy. Ugh.
Is the big one in the manual?
No, they're probably just...
It's a surprise.
I know one other enemy who appears in this game who isn't in the manual. The final boss. Because there is a final boss in this game who I think is another innovation, a new addition to this version of the game. Alright, this lady, I forget what her name is, but she is in the manual. And another stage cleared. Pro Circuit 292 asking, AVGN played this game? I don't believe AVGN played this game. I think this one has not been on his radar. Which is good, because he hasn't completely misinformed his audience about it, so...
Wasn't even in the Power Glove episode. The first step on the road to wisdom is to understand that you might be on the wrong track. Ooh.
That could be a good one. Also, I realized I've been forgetting to use fucking... that.
Yeah.
Maybe that would help, huh? Maybe that would, like, help me out of some tough spots if I remembered that I had that. It's so easy to forget that.
You're not remembering because you're not wearing the Power Glove.
Yeah, I guess that would help, wouldn't it? That'd be like sort of a reminder.
It's like tying a string on your finger kind of thing.
Yeah, except it's a giant sweaty glove. Alright, this trip is pretty good. The trip in previous stages has not done the same amount of damage. Here it's also like a dodge. I can use it to dodge attacks too because it crouches me. So it's actually very useful in this stage. In fact... why would I use anything else? I just want to imagine Duke tying these people's shoes laces together to trip them. That's what he's doing in this animation. And they just keep falling for it. You know what? Fuck, let's just run to the end. I don't want to fight these people. Well...
Nope.
You know, I'll take a loss on that one.
It looks to me like you have to... like... Okay, I'm paying attention. Okay, no. So I thought you were killing enemies to collect those things on the top of the screen, but no, I guess that's just distance you have traveled.
Yeah, the speedrun for this game is just ignore enemies. Alright.
Yeah, I don't think the airplane spin works
not when there's
out for
multiple
you.
enemies.
Yeah.
It's fine when it's just the one. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh. There she is again. Oh, she runs away because we make it to the edge of the screen, so now someone else will come in. Ay, ay, ay!
It's, don't know.
Well, he has a gun, I can tell you that much.
Not in the manual.
You sure?
I couldn't tell that was supposed to be a cop or not. Definitely.
Oh,
I didn't see a...
Look for a football player. I know that sounds like nonsense, but...
No football player. There's a basketball player, but not a football player.
No, the basketball player is different. Okay.
Yeah. Like, honestly, I might have missed some enemies in terms of ones that have been in the manual or not. There's no way that was the male punker.
No. Oh, maybe it is. What does the male punker say?
Punches out old ladies just for kicks. He deserves everything you give him. Now it punches, so he had that guy had a gun.
Yeah. See, I used the power glove that time. I used the gloves app, and it came in handy.
You know, you could sell these in a pawn shop or something, Duke.
Well, he does it for the love of the game. He's not in it for the money.
If every man would sweep before his own door, the city would be clean.
That's neglecting the streets and interiors of buildings and
Very crowded city.
yeah, the bull ram again. This is bullshit if you ask me. Pile driver. Okay, this I gotta see. Yep, sure enough. Oh, this looks familiar. Oh my god! Half my health right out the gate, huh?
Yeah, who is that supposed to be?
I don't know, but I pile drove his ass into the ground.
That's like a Battletoads attack.
Come on,
All right.
Spy. Give me some health.
Okay. Let's potentially alienate the audience. I'm gonna ask a question. Battletoads. Bad game?
It's fine. I never struggled with the bike stage, everyone seems to. Also notice that the basketball player in this game, white. This is better than the stereotypical depiction that he is seen in other versions of the game, to say the least, without getting into too much detail. But definitely cleaning things up, definitely addressing problematic elements of this game. And here's just a tiger.
According to the manual, at least for the basketball player, because Tiger's not in there, he doesn't like anyone under 7 feet tall, including Duke.
I forgot that I had used the gloves app earlier, so using it there just kind of locked me in place and let the tiger maul me. Luckily, Duke knows how to deal with a tiger, and that's just kicking him in the face. So next time you're out camping, trekking, just do that.
In India, I guess.
Give me health. Yes, there we go.
Where are you camping that there are tigers?
Good point. The zoo.
Okay, next time that you break into the zoo and decide to sleep in one of the enclosures.
You get back here so I can kick your ass. All right, let's see who it is. And... oh, well, I didn't realize you get hit by the tires. Cute. Yeah, so those motorcyclists, you can hit them with one kick, but they can take off half your health in a single hit, so... fair trade, fair play. I don't even have words.
I do. I'd like a hamburger instead.
Look at this
Those are the
fucking
words.
dweeb. Look at this fucking loser we're playing as. Like,
They
that's a
said
big
to
criticism.
They said to him, it can't be done. But he went right to it. He took that thing that couldn't be done, and he tried.
Didn't succeed.
They didn't, yeah.
Check out this body fling. This really shows how scrawny Duke is here. Not flattering. None of these sprites are flattering. The crouch pose still being this is not flattering. I mean, I know it's meant to be a comedy game. I know it's meant to be funny to some extent, so, this is all deliberate to a certain extent, but also, who wants to play as a loser? I mean, it's why Lesser the Unlikely, despite being, a novel concept, just, no one wants to play as the scrawny dweeb who's completely helpless. Video games are meant to be, a power fantasy, A power glove fantasy in this case.
By this point of the NES game, it is many steps removed from the joke that it originally was.
Yeah.
Because now that you have just punk enemies and criminals and stuff instead of the original thing of being oh, you're very clearly beating up people who don't need beating up.
Yes. Whereas in this, they're just embracing the ridiculous, and it loses something, to be sure. And I have to wonder, how the people at Beam who were responsible for the original game felt about compromising their artistic vision in this way. Because, say what you will about that ZX Spectrum version, but they absolutely, were tapping into something there. They were, feeling their oats in some way. in developing that one. They were getting something out of their systems with that one, and they have to turn around and make this NES version, which is just like self-parody of a parody at this point.
So it was. I'm trying to remember that note from that interview that you read. It was someone at Mattel who integrated the Power Glove stuff.
Not
into
someone
it, right?
from
Not
Beam.
Beam.
Yeah. I'm just gonna run to the end of the stage. Yeah, run away. Who's this fucking
I
guy?
believe, according to the manual, that character is called Batman.
Subtle.
He's as bad as his belly is big. He'll put the squeeze on your vitality if he gets his hands on you.
Alright, let's try it like this.
He looks downright jovial in the manual, though.
There's a line
everyone,
I always think
almost
of.
everyone looks like very fun going in the manual.
There's
Maybe
a line
not
I
the
always
baseball
think
player.
of from Metal Gear Solid 2, where you're on the phone with, or on the codec with Stillman, and he says the line, "I know Fat Man well." That's the line. That's all. I think about that sometimes. That's all. Anyway, Breakdancer's back.
I remember the part where they say, no, they call him Fat Man because he's bisexual.
Anyway, I just use the gloves app on them. You see, that's my secret trick, is do an impossible input with your NES controller, and just skip fighting those people that you don't want to fight. Works every time.
Well, maybe it's impossible input with your NES controller, but mine's bad.
The baddest.
He that is overcautious will accomplish but very little.
Take risks. Alright, we have a punch, we have a kick, and the arm spin. This is the most basic of our arsenals going into a stage, I think. Just a basic-ass punch. It feels like a step down. But you know what?
It works.
Punch is pretty effective. It cannot be denied. This breakdancer is really beating my ass. In fact,
Yeah.
I don't even want to fight him. Winning move is not to play.
Well, here he comes.
Wow, they really want me to fight him, huh? Okay, no, never mind. There we go.
He kind of reminds me of the dude from Karateka.
Sure, yeah, okay. The all-white, I can see it.
Yeah. That and, like, you know that gif of him, like breaking it down?
Oh, you mean the one that I made transparent for the sake of the internet? That I was the first person to do a
Yes.
fully transparent version of that? Yes, thank you very much, internet.
Yes, thank you.
And yes, and you're welcome for the emote on Twitch, too, by the way. Yes, I remember that that particular sprite.
Yeah, it reminds me of that.
Yes. There, I didn't even need to use my gloves app on the skateboard this time. Okay, never mind. Fuck it. Ugh, these spies aren't helping me anymore. I haven't seen a heart in ages.
Yeah, like, when's the last time you gave them information they could use, huh?
Look, I've been tattling on our government this entire time. I've been giving them the scoops. The inside scoops, the info. Okay, how are we gonna do this? This is not the final boss, so I do want to preserve some measure of my my glove zap. He can hit me with his belly too.
Yeah, he wields his belly with both hands. Also, I have to notice that in the manual, when they talk about Fat Man, they don't mention that he has a gun.
I wonder if the guns were like a last-minute addition or something they snuck in, like past the wire, past Nintendo or what have you. It's entirely possible.
Oh, that character might have been Attila the Honey.
Yes, it absolutely was.
She's a sharp-witted assassin with knives to match. Look out behind you. She can be a real backstabber.
Here we go. Magic Meow saying, fun fact, Cass was also the first person on the internet to remove the unsightly third eye from the bouncing boob gif of World for Magical Drop, a true innovator in the gif space. Please, I'd add extra eyes. I'd put eyes on the boobs if I was the one editing that gif.
Beauty is only skin deep, but ugly goes to the bone.
Ugly. Ugly to the bone. Aeroplane spin.
But ugly goes. So does that mean if someone's unattractive that it goes to the all the way down, that they're a bad person?
You can't be beautiful inside and ugly on the outside. You can only be...
Yeah, that's what I'm picking up. Yeah, we're getting the ZX Spectrum territory now.
Yeah.
No, wait, was that ZX Spectrum? Was that?
Yes.
That was.
Like, you know,
Because
that
coloring
is, like,
book,
if you
yeah.
think about it, those text things, that's them trying to do the ZX Spectrum thing to a certain extent. That's them trying to insert some ideas, traffic in some philosophy, if you will, in this game. So, you know, homage of a sort. These guys suck. I think I can get them, though. Yeah, just keep tripping them up. Their long, lanky legs will be their downfall. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. Just keep running.
You know, I can tell that your character's the good guy, that he respects the law, because he's always walking in the direction that the one-way signs are pointing.
I hate you too, breakdancer. Yeah, fuck off. Puh. Here we go. You know what? Fuck it. Go to hell before you die.
Did not kill the strongman though.
No, it only kills one enemy on screen. I think calling it a smart bomb was ineffective was wrong in my case. Smart bomb implies they would kill everyone on screen.
Yeah.
I think it is just like an instant kill on given enemy. Good thing I'm getting these basketballs off the street. God forbid.
Oh.
Mr. Dream.
I think the basketball player will get along with him.
Okay, so none of my moves seem to work, which is a problem. I bet only one move in my arsenal works. Not the glove zap, but I bet only the aeroplane spin will work or something.
Well, according to the manual, this is the boxer. Keep your guard up. This guy has a counter punch for every move you make.
Yep.
Except for
Can't
that one.
punch him, but I can sure as hell lift him above my head.
You can make him dizzy, and that's enough.
Magic Me, I was saying that boxer sprite looks like it belongs in a completely different game. You're not wrong. Aw, gee, it was nothing. Sorry, I had to take that one from you.
Oh, gee, it was nothing.
Hi, Mom.
In victory, malice. In defeat, revenge. Don't get mad, get bad.
Don't get mad, get glad.
I don't even understand it. This one is the first one I really don't understand.
In victory,
In
malice.
victory,
So
malice.
if you win, boo on you. If you get defeated, then you gotta get your revenge. Just always be mad, always be fighting. There's no such thing as winning. The constant struggle, it never ends.
Isn't that like what Ninja was saying about Fortnite?
Sure. In not so many words. Alright, the body fling does not help me to dodge bullets, unfortunately. It does not have iframes in the way that some of the other moves do, but... Oh, wait, no, I thought he was dead!
This is me getting distracted again, but I do want to look up the thing he said, because it was very... pathetic? Is that the word I'm looking for?
Prophetic?
No, pathetic.
Oh, pathetic. Okay. Two different words. Two very different.
Oh yeah, I found it. What is this from? 2020? Yeah. The phrase, "it's just a game," is such a weak mindset.
Oh, this fucking
You're okay-
quote! Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. Okay, yeah, please.
You are okay with what happened, losing, imperfection of a craft. When you stop getting angry after losing, you've lost twice. There's always something to learn, always room for improvement. Never settle.
Dude didn't win a match in Fortnite, and he really had to tell people off about it. He really felt a way about it.
Oh, he was responding to some clip of someone talking about tryhards in video games, and he took it personal.
All right, this basketball player is going to be a pain in my ass. The moves we have, that's the thing about, like, okay, easy fix for this game. I know we haven't been, like, super high on the design insights because this game's been funny enough on its own to sort of, like, not necessitate it, but easy fix for the variety of moves thing, to have that variety and also not have it be, like, a complete fucking hindrance. How about you just select what moves you want per stage? Huh? How about, like, it costs a certain, like, you have a certain allocation of points or something, like, or skill point or whatever, and you can upgrade your attacks so they become more powerful attacks, and you can, you know...
You would never actually choose different moves if you had the option of moves in this.
Well, if some of them could be, like, made to be, like, super effective, like, you know, how you can take weapons in certain games, like the starter weapons, and upgrade them to be, like, you know, end game weapons. You know, there's a way to balance it. I'm sure they wouldn't have struck that balance. I'm sure they would have failed at that, but...
I think you're also asking a lot with that concept, but in a game from, like, what, 1989?
It's not completely unheard of. There were, like, games at this point that had progression systems in them. Not so many things to toss in the dumpster stage. It's almost like I was avoiding most fights.
Whomever laughs last gets the last laugh. Usually.
No, this one does require a bit of a Joker voice. Whomever gets the last laugh, or who? I'm sorry, messed it up. I'm so twisted. I'm already getting that Joker mindset. I was already spinning around. Whomever laughs last gets the last laugh. Usually, I lost it since the Hulk Hogan voice. I had it. I had the Heath Ledger Joker for like a second, but whomever laughs last gets the last laugh. Usually. Something like that. I don't know. I know, I'm the woman of 1,000 voices, and I'm disappointing right now. Bull Ram. And Pile Driver. You know, what we call Bad Street Brawler, the Joker calls a Normal Street Brawler.
Nah. First shot that one.
Yeah. Wow, they're really making me fight, like, actual tough enemies on this one. Okay, never mind. They fucked off. Going back to these guys feels like a throwback. It's so nice to see them again and to be like, everything we've learned, all the power we've acquired since then. Now these guys are like nothing to us.
I do notice that they've decided to remove the nipples from the gorillas in the NES version.
Too sexy. Can't have that on NES.
Which is why I'm starting a change.org petition.
Alright, let's try that again. Alright, so when they're crouching down, it's impossible to gauge when they're actually going to stand up and when they're going to stay crouched. I'll just let them leave, and then I'll get run over.
That's the biker. He'll leave you with nothing but a set of tire tracks across your back. Keep out of his way.
I tried to play chicken with it. I tried to charge him. That didn't work. Alright, it has to be the kick.
Hey, guess what? We've gone through every enemy in the manual, so I don't have to read any of these out anymore.
Very good. God damn it. The edge of the screen just ain't safe. And my spy didn't even drop off like a heart. Okay, rewind. Let's see if this guy has an actual present for me. No. Why do I even bother? Why do I assume anything nice will ever happen? Why do I assume the game will throw me any breaks?
Have you
Duke is having a bad
yet?
day. No, I have not. Good call. Whichever one it hits is whichever one it hits. Actually, no, I want to hit the green one, which means that it's not going to do that, which means that it's going to hit... Oh, it's not going to hit anyone in that case. Okay, fuck it. Why is it not coming out? I guess I'm getting hit before it can actually...
Yeah.
There we go.
Aw.
Her posture's pretty bad when she's down on the ground like that. I would consider like a chiropractor for that or something. It's... Maybe this will adjust her. Maybe this is... It's tough. You know, the game has
Rearrange
definitely
your-
gotten harder. I'm not good at beat 'em ups on the best of days, and this is not the best of days. And this is not the best of games. How many knives do you have, lady?
Listen, everyone needs a hobby.
Which sprite is Magic Mouse saying is baffling to them? Can you expand that? I can't really do that at the
So
moment.
let's see. I don't know. It is also baffling. It might be you getting knocked down to the ground.
Yes,
If you're
it
feeling
is.
good, don't worry. If you're feeling good, don't worry. You'll get over it.
Don't worry about that. We're deep enough in this that no fear of that. Alright, just immediately run to the right. I'm not even wasting time anymore. And even still, they find ways to beat me down, to...
Oh, you're almost out of health already. Well, almost is not the word anymore.
What are my moves? I forgot to check those. Headbutt, dropkick, stooge hit. Stooge hit's useless, so I have 2 moves. Let me just see how much damage a stooge hit does. I won't find out
It does
because
about half. Yeah, it does about half health damage to you.
fucking worthless. Just absolutely pointless move. Maybe it could do like 4 bars of damage. It doesn't matter because it doesn't. You can't hit people with it. Yeah. Okay. Fuck that. Whatever. Half health. That's fine. If I can make it to the edge of the screen here, that's all that matters. All right. Who are the enemies on this screen? Sworded. Fuck's sake. Alright, so clearly I found the move. The headbutt is the move. It's just a matter of not taking a dozen knives to the gut in the process. But you can't predict like when they're going to start to attack. No attacks in this game have wind up. You can't predict anything that's going to happen. You can't anticipate timing, which are like major parts of a beat 'em up. So I feel like that's an issue. You also can't predict like what the range on these attacks will be. At least there's that.
Hey, all your health back.
Half my health gone. All my apes gone. All right,
Did Seth
bye.
Green ever get the? Did Seth Green ever get that 8 back?
God, I hope not. Keep running, keep running. I don't even care if I missed out on a spy giving me health. Oh wait, no, there it is.
Good news, you didn't. Ooh.
Scary. Unfortunately for him, I have a move that seems very effective. Well, there you go.
All right, let's see what our victory in front of City Hall is going to be.
Yep, it is that time. Look, oh, golly gee, maybe we'll make a movie about me! And it'll be the worst movie ever made. This motherfucker's never even heard of Leg Day, I just gotta say.
An optimist is a guy who hasn't had much experience. Man, they're getting real cynical now towards the back half.
They're becoming more like the ZX Spectrum game. They're slowly becoming Street Hassle. Alright, Gutney. Trip.
The bugs are
Aeroplane's
back. How many times can I reference Dracula Flow in one stream?
Well, let's break the record. Wait, so is that guy dead? Okay, yes, that guy is dead. I don't know why I bothered killing them. Literally just gonna respawn more. They just infinitely respawn, so it's...
Elvis, the cultural advisor, says he's built like Beavis and or Butthead.
Oh! The airplane spin makes me invincible to bullets.
Oh,
Was not expecting that.
Good. Good to know. Good life advice.
Yeah, if anyone tries to shoot you, just lift them above your head. And if they have a buddy that's trying to shoot you, don't worry, it'll take care of them too.
Like, I'm still looking for the move I can do in real life that'll give me some iframes.
Have you tried cowering on the ground like this?
That doesn't even work here.
Alright, who's next? Oh, well. Played that wrong. Okay, I know how I want to play this one. I have my strategy in mind. Okay. Mutually assured destruction. Gotta love it. Okay, maybe I won't use the power zap. I mean, who's to say that we don't have, like, one of the mini-bosses reappearing as an... Oh my god, I guess use the trip. Okay, well.
Here you go.
Stood up too early there. That's fine. Everything's fine. This game is fine.
Yeah, you're almost at the end. This is like the end of stage 13 out of 15.
Why is the glove zap not working? Oh, there we go. Better late than never, I suppose. God damn it!
Ooh.
This... All I need to do is trip her once. All I need to do is not collect that. How am I supposed to get past this shit? Oh, like that. Okay. Ugh. There we go. Unless there's another enemy. No, thank God. We're so close, Charkie. Would you believe if I told you there's one more game we have to play after this, though, still? So
I do. I would believe.
it's almost if you look at the show notes.
Show
or
notes.
something. Yeah, it's almost as if. Okay, let me do this one, please. Because this one is truly baffling. Come fight beside me, I said to myself, and although it doesn't make sense, I held my own hand as a small sign of trust, and together I made my defense. Now, this is supposed to be a riff on a poem about, like, sitting on the fence or something like that. It's an existing poem, but the way it's been reinterpreted here is just questionable. You like it?
I like it.
High kick, ear twist, bull ram. So 2 moves again. Bull ram is useless, so. Can you read Johnny Baghead's message?
He says, "Oh no, I just realized this game is a proto-god hand. It's even got punks, laser mohawks, and dwarfs in a dweep main character."
Not wrong. Maybe this is the game that IGN reviewer played by mistake.
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it. And jump. Well, I'm just gonna leave the skateboarders be. Let them skate. Unless I have to kill them now, in which case they will be denied.
Maybe they played God Hand and thought it was Imagine Babies Party.
You know, who's to say? That's what I get for using the glove zap. Yeah, okay, I can't, you rely on that, I can't do that. I'm just gonna have to make the kick work. Oh, never mind, there we go. Alright, deal with this guy first. That was close.
Oh, yeah, the kick mostly seems to be working.
I mean, it only does 1 tick of health, but you can keep him, like, perpetually juggled, which is...
Okay, there's your health back. And there it goes.
Ow. Some of these fights are a little unfair. I don't know if that's,
Yeah.
Okay. Even the odds a little bit, for as much good as that'll do us. Fucking stand up! It's... Okay. I hate this guy. This guy sucks. I'm gonna run out of time because this motherfucker's wasting so much of it. I have to hit him twice more. I don't know if that's possible. There we go. Just
There
down
you
to
are.
the wire. Magic Mouse saying an emotional spinneroonie. The end of the road.
In the final analysis, you just can't beat a heart of gold.
Or spandex of gold. Or hair of gold. Sweep kick. Punch. Pile driver. Let's make it happen. You better believe I'm skipping it every fight. You better believe I'm not wasting my time on any of these jabronis.
I mean, that seems to be the strategy for the game.
Oh my god, is it gonna make me fight both these fucking losers? Get out of here. My punch does 1 damage, my kick does 1 damage. They really gave us some of the worst moves for this final stage.
That's the challenge.
I feel like I'm gonna run out of time in this stage too. Despite just like doing it as quickly as possible, I feel like I'm still gonna fall short. Especially if I have to... Ugh. There we go. They better give me a full heart after that. No? No spy?
Nope.
No nothing?
Nope. Nothing.
Get out of here. Wow, they really knew these guys sucked. They really knew, like, these guys are the absolute worst to deal with. Yeah, I'm using my gloves up. I'm not even going to keep her for the final boss. I'll face the final boss and whatever he has versus having to deal with that fucking breakdancer.
Jesus.
Okay, so I hit him as he's coming onto screen. That's when he's standing up. Or maybe the pile driver will be like an effective move against him. I don't know. In fact, let me get my glove zap back too while I'm at it.
Yeah.
Maybe if I pile drive the breakdancer. Maybe if I go into this fight with more than 1 HP. Even if it's just 2 HP.
Alright, he's about to leave the screen. There you go. Oh, came back to say hi. Well,
that helped.
it did work.
Now I just need to grab this guy.
Might not be grabbable. Can't say for sure, but he might not.
Fuck. Yeah, I don't think he's grabbable. Let's rewind. Let's save ourselves some time and money. We'll punch his lights out. Oh!
There you go. Yeah, you found it. You found it.
Alright, just one more.
hit.
Walk into my fist. It's not my fault if you walk into it, if I'm just spinning my arms.
Alright, spy? Spy.
Son of a
Bomb.
bitch. Oh my god, the final insult is making me fight these two
I think
again.
he's gonna leave. Yeah.
Oh.
There you go. Like, as if you needed it.
Oh my god!
Is it Arlie Ermy? Ooh, kicked your ass.
Yeah, that's the final boss. He has a bazooka. Let's see what we can do about this. I gotta know, first of all.
Well, congratulations.
No, okay. I gotta try to do this legit. At least I gotta make an attempt. With full health.
But we do know how to finish the game, should it come to that.
I feel like I'm playing
Now
Human
you got
Killing
this.
Machine again. That's gonna be a miserable stream when I have to replay that game for stream. Frank Gothic saying pay to win works again with the power glove. But ultimately, easier than the breakdancers. Let's see the dumpster one last time. We did it.
Great image.
Driving past this old CGA city in blue and purple. As they gave us the characters. Not that it's going to save the cartridge or anything, but
No.
But you know what? I feel like I've certainly earned on this night. That was Bad Street Brawler on the NES. Still better than the ZX Spectrum version. Still better than the Commodore 64 and DOS versions.
Still the best version we've seen tonight.
Yes, but there is one more. But we will get to that when we get to that. I have a few more slides to go through first. So let me go ahead and get those loaded. Bad Street Brawler's reception on the NES. The first thing I want to show here is this is actually a little bit of pre-release. This was published in Computer Entertainer of January 1989. They were doing their coverage of Mindscape's booth at the Consumer Electronics Show, where Mindscape was set to feature several games. This is at the time where Mindscape was still set to publish Bad Street Brawler on the NES. So interestingly enough, they decided to drop it before the show. They had announced that Bad Street Brawler would be featured at their Mindscape booth, but Bad Street Brawler, figured to be the weakest title of Mindscape's lineup, has been dropped. It will be replaced by Paperboy to be later in 1988, along with Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So this maybe helps illuminate something. Maybe the reason Mindscape didn't want to publish this game is because newspapers were already calling it the weakest title of their lineup. Because everyone could smell this one coming from a mile away, and Mattel got stuck holding the bag on this one. So that's entirely possible, based on this excerpt here, which was a great find, if I do say so myself. Credit to me. So let's get to some reviews. Here's pages from Nintendo Power. The top image is from their September-October issue of 1989, and it is their review of the game, which reads in brief: the instruction manual states, you are Duke Davis, former punk rocker and the world's coolest martial arts vigilante. Says it all, doesn't it? Move through 15 stages of parks, alleys, piers, railroad yards, and other assorted, unfriendly places. The game also features a Power Glove option and a drive-in rock and roll soundtrack that's the best we've ever heard with a game pack. Game pack meaning cartridge, that's what they were calling cartridges at that time. Average score across those metrics there is 3 out of 5. Averages that to a 3 out of 5 that Nintendo Power is willing to give this game. And it's the best soundtrack they've ever heard, apparently. They haven't heard much music, I guess. Second image here is from the November-December 1989 issue of Nintendo Power. And this one is just curious to me because they call it, quote, the arcade favorite, Bad Street Brawler, comes to the NES as the first game in the Power Glove gaming series. You can use a basic NES controller to play, but the Power Glove will really get you into the swing of urban street fighting action. The arcade favorite. That's, yeah, no one bothering to check any shit out on this, I imagine. No one at Nintendo Power, privy at all to the home computer scene, has any idea. They just know it's a conversion. They just know it's like, it was a pre-existing game being brought to the NES. And they're like, oh, so arcade game? Those are the only games that exist. We're not acknowledging that Sega consoles exist. We don't know what the fuck a computer is, so I guess it's got to be an arcade game. Heady times, strange times for the games press.
I feel like now as well, arcade gets thrown around too freely. Like, if you go to a fucking app store on mobile, and they'll have a listing of like arcade games, and it's like, no. No, they're not.
Maybe they mean arcade is in genre, like Video Game King is saying. I don't think so. I think it's just bullshit, wrong information on the part of Nintendo Power, who, you know, for as beloved as that magazine is, they got a lot of stuff wrong. They trafficked in a lot of misinfo. They gave a lot of scores that games didn't review, etc., etc. It's almost as if Nintendo was funding the distribution of that magazine and wanted to encourage consumers to buy game packs. Who'da thunk? Game Players magazine, a neutral source. Maybe, I don't know. This first image, the one that's sort of beigeish, is from the Game Players Buyer's Guide to Nintendo Games from October 1989. It's a basic overview of the game, but what's interesting is that the image next to it is wrong. I don't know what this is. In fact, can I... Let's zoom in on this. Can I do that? Can I... No, clearly that is the wrong slide. Give me a second.
Start the stream over.
All right, let's take it from the top, guys. Okay. How do I zoom in on this? How about something like this? Yeah. What is this game?
Castlevania
What is this meant to be? Let me get it out of the way.
Castlevania with muscles.
Yeah, I mean, this happened a lot in old game magazines where they just get the image wrong, but I don't even know what this game is. Which, like, I almost think, is this like a prototype? Is this like some version of Bad Street Brawler that never came to be? Like, what is the deal here? Bob and Anderson, that's Bayou Billy. Okay, well, there we go. Shows what I know about Bayou Billy. Shows what I know about...
I mean, Bayou Billy... I don't remember Bayou Billy ever looking like that.
Like the shooting stages, maybe? I don't know. Again, no idea, but just amusing to some extent, I suppose. Okay, next image on this page is the actual review of Bad Street Brawler. Bob and Anderson, I only recognize it because I saw the Jeremy Parrish video the other day. So okay, so they Bayou
Maybe it
Billy,
was the shooting stage.
Bad Street Brawler, BA. They probably have the images labeled wrong in their library, so that makes sense. I can see how that could happen potentially. So Game Player's review from February of 1990. The humor works. Bad Street Brawler is fun and holds your interest, at least for a while. Soon, however, the unbroken left-to-right progression and unchanging pattern of duck, attack, and advance becomes repetitive. Each of the game's 5 levels plays the same, and it seems as if only the backgrounds change. There are no level bosses. Huh? There's not even a ladder to climb or an obstacle to hurdle. Although the light, humorous approach is a refreshing twist, it's just not enough to make up for the simplistic gameplay. After such complex and action-packed games as Mega Man 2 and Ninja Gaiden, many game players have come to expect more. You know, it's fair to say that, yeah, it's very basic, that it gets repetitive, that it does repeat the same 5 backgrounds. To say there are no level bosses is just patently untrue. Every, was it 3 stages or 5 stages there was a level boss? Yeah.
3.
So, no idea what game they were playing. And this will bring us to Sean Baby, who in the year 2000 places Bad Street Brawler as number 7 in his classic article, 20 Worst NES Games of All Time. This is one of the most notorious articles of the early internet. Like, back in the day, it was like Sean Baby and Maddox. Like, before we had videos, and this is how we got our snark online. Like, very Old Man Murray. Like, that era of internet content. And Sean Baby writes these very performatively angry reviews, deliberately vulgar. 2 years later, he's writing for Electronic Gaming Monthly, and he rehashes this list. He takes the games from this list and adds a few more, and he redubs it as Sean Baby's EGM's Crap Stravaganza, the 20 Worst Games of All Time, where Bad Street Brawler now rates as number 16. And, you know, it's very easy to go back to these primitive articles. This is Web 1.0 era. Read this stuff and be like, this is piss and fuck. This game is shit for the birds. That sort of stuff. And be like, you know, this doesn't really hold up as like criticism, as it were. But, you know, for a teenager in those years, you would read this and be like, oh man, this guy's taking it to these games. I finally remember reading these articles. It was so fun to see someone just being like a snark machine, ranting back in the day about these games. And yeah, it was definitely like innovative. I mean, there wouldn't be... I know the AVGN didn't necessarily read Sean Baby, but... you know, that culture, that the audience that was established for the AVGN coming in 2004, 2005, coming those years, was established by Sean Baby. This stuff is seminal internet, and so I still have a weird sort of nostalgia for this stuff. Particularly like imockery.com is one that I would still like occasionally go back to, but anyway, I just wanted to say that, you know, this is where I first heard of Bad Street Brawler. This is where I was first exposed to this game, to be sure. 24 years ago, give or take. And yeah, it's certainly lingered in my head ever since. The fact that Bad Street Brawler was one of the original articles I chose to write shows that this game certainly lingered in the memory of the imagery here. It sticks with you. You play this game, you don't forget it, you know? So, 1988, let's just continue with a little bit more history of Beam Software. In 1988, Beam Software releases what I would argue is their magnum opus in Samurai Warrior: The Battles of Usagi Yojimbo for the Commodore 64. I don't know if it had any other ports, but this game is just fucking great. It is the logical conclusion to that style of game they started with Way the Exploding Fist in Fist 2 and Bad Street Brawler. This is their vision for the beat 'em up perfected. It has a good and bad mechanics. It has like a morality system in it. It has great graphics inspired by the comic book. It has like interesting character dialogue. It is like the logical iteration of Bad Street Brawler and the stuff that it was doing. It has branching paths in it too, not like to like a severe extent where like you're having like multiple endings or whatever. But you can diverge, you can choose different routes through the game. There's some amount of like interacting with NPCs. It's just a genuinely neat little game, and I think probably one of Beam Software's best. Some would tell you that the 1993 Shadowrun game on Super Nintendo, that's their magnum opus. And that's fine, I suppose. I mean, you know how I feel about the SNES. But I'm also partial to, if you just want like a deep cut from Beam Software's catalog, 1984 game Muggsy for the ZX Spectrum. It reminds me a lot of a game, The King of Chicago, CinemaWare's The King of Chicago, but 2 years earlier, and on a console on a computer that was far less equipped for it, but they still managed to get across this really primo presentation for it, especially for 84. So that's another hidden gem in the Beam Software catalog. All these Bad Street Brawlers and Street Hassles are somewhat anomalous. Until you get to the NES era, until you get to the long-running collaboration with LJN that Beam Software entered into, Back to the Future on NES, among like a dozen other games they made for LJN at this point, like NFL Quarterback Club and just a ton of games. And you know what that means. We have the LJN Connection series we recently started. So, we'll be playing a lot of Beam Software games in our future, Charkie. There's a lot of these to come. Let's just say that. So we're not quite done with Beam Software just yet, to say the least. But to put a tidy bow on the Beam Software story, let's bring up this image here. In 1999, Beam Software was acquired by Infogrames and renamed to Infogrames Melbourne House. So they took the old book publisher name and just renamed that after the studio. Infogrames themselves would eventually... well, I should say, under this Melbourne House label, they put out mostly racing games. At this point, the studio pivots to Le Mans 24 Hours and just a variety of racing games. I think maybe a couple strategy games. But Infogrames eventually rebrands to Atari SA. Maybe you've heard of them. In December 2005, Atari shifts away from internal development, shutters all their internal studios or sells them. They sell Melbourne House to Chrome Studios in November 2005. Where they barely do anything. I think they put out maybe a small handful more games between then and October 15th, 2010, where Melbourne House, Beam Software et al., whatever you want to call it, is ultimately shuttered. Their main office in Brisbane closed, and people hopefully go on to other jobs in the industry at that point. So a studio that had been founded in 1980, they effectively had a 30-year run, which is, good. They certainly put out a lot during that time. Some of it memorable, some of it that you wish you could forget, but prolific no matter how you slice it. That's not the end of the Bad Street Brawler story, though. Because let's go back to 1994. This is Street Hassle for the Commodore Amiga. This is not a Beam Software game. This is a Mirage Media game. They're a Polish publisher who works with the studio, also in Poland, World Software, who remake Street Hassle, specifically the ZX Spectrum version. They endeavor to remake that version of the game. You may be familiar with World Software, as they went on to develop Franco's The Crazy Revenge, as mentioned earlier, and 1995's Domon Grzeczny Ardania. Which are just these ultra gory Amiga core beat 'em ups, but it all starts with this Street Hassle remake, this unauthorized Street Hassle remake, and we're gonna play this. And even though it was not endorsed or approved by Beam Software, I'd like to think that the Beam Software staff would be proud of the direction that World Software took this game, which is to say, the direction of ultra violence and incredibly bad taste.
This port is not endorsed by the Vatican.
Bear with me a second while I get this up and ready to go. Wait, no, I don't want that. Let's do this one instead. Full frame, so it stretches. I have the dot disk image here, so this Amiga emulator is going to have to emulate the floppy disk reading, so apologies for that. This is how it was back in the day. I'm sure I could have found a WHD load file for this that would have like skipped all this stuff, but... This game has an intro cinematic. This is not the intro cinematic, this is just, it's something.
Waiting on it.
It's worth the wait.
It's coming. Almost here.
Fuck! Our hero.
Bush, crooks, back, brisk.
Well, this sure is frustrating. How's our hero gonna deal with this? How's he gonna calm his neighbors down? How's he gonna...
Continue to puff his cheeks.
Ooh, I'm so mad! This sprite looks familiar, huh? Well, not this one, but...
Dun 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 dun.
Doesn't this look familiar? He got that anchor tattoo lasered off. How Amiga is this? I hope this music is coming through. I hope the volume is leveled properly. That's one way to deal with the problem. That's one way to deal with noise complaints, I suppose.
Anyway, go out there and protect the grannies.
Yeah, I think we've dropped all pretense of that by this point. Podage Viacorium. Where's you? I'm not even gonna bother. I'm not even gonna try.
Podage Icatorium. Where's you?
Wow, I didn't know you knew Polish, Charkie. That's impressive.
Oh, Brazik.
I had to press enter, turns out.
You ever see those things where like people like take instances of like people putting English words into Cyrillic where it looks like the letters and then saying, hey, here's what it would actually be pronounced as?
I sure have. All right. We've come a long way, Charky.
Tommy Tallarico. Russian Tommy Tallarico. Or Polish Tommy Tallarico.
I'm just gonna let this play out. Fire to start? Don't mind if I do. Magic Mouse saying, can we go back? Any minute now.
Here it comes. There we are.
And what do you know? It plays almost exactly like the ZX Spectrum version. Because it is a remake of that ZX Spectrum version.
I beat up those Andy Warhols.
At least it moves a little smoother in the ZX Spectrum version, which, you know, isn't saying much, of course. Alright, let's see the old ladies. Let's see if we can... Oh, they just call me Brute immediately, which means they're immediately aggroed. That's how you can tell they're aggro in the other games, in the earlier games, by the way, is that when they shout Brute, that's when you know that they're fucking pissed.
Where's Zemi Dodomi? Good dog?
Let's see.
Good boy. Bad boy.
Yeah, I was trying to pet that one, but they didn't want me to.
Alright, well, head to Sklep.
I think they improved the hitboxes in this version, so it's imminently more playable in the ZX Spectrum version, which, again, saying absolutely nothing. You know, the ultraviolence really doesn't come through in this part. I mean, we're still beating the shit out of grannies and old dudes and whatnot, and I guess that's its...
It's actually more restrained here than I thought it would have been.
Yeah, and there's no, like, text ticker at the bottom screen, too, which is honestly, like, the thing that really sets that one version apart. What's this black box? Oh! Someone dropped an item for us. That's handy. Notice how their mouths are bleeding after I pet them. And also if I headbutt them. But, I'm trying not to headbutt them.
This one screen does not end, does it?
It does, but this is different in the sense that you can't just skip enemies. Well, I guess you couldn't skip them in the ZX Spectrum version either, in fairness. This one, they really want me fighting a lot of people.
There you go.
But hold on, I just realized this is the right aspect ratio. If I do this, will it... Yeah, okay. Well, Amiga had like a bunch of borders around the screen, so forgive the borders around the screen. This guy's wearing a knit cap.
Elf. I was gonna say like an elf's hat.
Getting stun locked ain't fun. Oh, we have different moves on the screen though.
Ooh.
Didn't kill him.
That throw.
This isn't doing continuous damage to them like in other versions of the game, which makes it effectively useless. In fact, I don't know if it's doing any damage at this point. Their health ain't going down. Okay, when they hit the ground, their health goes down. Now I know they're remaking the ZX Spectrum version. This game really does need music in the background.
Virgin.
Sony,
license.
JVC,
wow,
Franco.
Everyone got in. Everyone got in on this.
Yeah, they won't let me not fight these grannies, so... We're just gonna see how far I can get in this, by the way.
I like how he's laughing while he does this. Ha! Yeah.
He's having a grand old time with all this. Alright, old lady goes first. Because they're the wild card. Classic temper tantrum. Now, mercifully, one change they make here is that you just respawn where you fell. So no, like, going backwards in the stage, no checkpointing, just get back into the fight.
I want to see your celebration at City Hall.
Something tells me this man is not being celebrated. Something tells me this man is getting not a ticker tape parade. Get back here. Can you read Marxist Maximus's message? Because it is something I forgot to mention, but it is of interest.
Say, on the subject of Franco, the sequel, Skinny and Franco, Fists of Violence, came out last August after 28 years.
Yeah, I did hear about that as someone who is aware of Franco and concerned about these developers.
When you say concerned, do you mean like... I'm concerned about these developers?
Yes. Oh god, it's a bomb.
Oh, they kept that from the ZX Spectrum.
You know, why even bother opening it? I call bullshit on that.
Johnny asks, is Franco the game, the industrial music, and the voice clip that goes, fuck off?
Yes. Wait, I just put down the old man and said, good boy. Who's a good boy? Yes, you are.
Good boy.
Yeah, okay. Sure, good boy. It seems very condescending to say good boy to someone who is like, it's 50 years your senior.
This is the screen
Presumably.
that never fucking ends, by the way.
So sing about the last one.
So yeah, primitive, amateur, passion projects. And, you know, this is clearly a game made by people who played that ZX Spectrum version, that Street Hassle as developed by Beam Software, and saw something in that version of the game, saw something in that vision for it. Oh my god, this really is a stage that never fucking ends. Where's my glove zap? And we're inspired to make this, to homage it 6 years later in the form of this. That one of the first games they chose to develop was just an homage to this game that was clearly influential on them, that clearly had some sort of impact on them. And, you know, grotesque and edgy as this may be, it comes through. The love they have for this weird fringe ZX Spectrum game is evident in this remake of it. Of all the games to take inspiration from. Now, where's the spiritual success? Where's the remake of the NES version of this game? That's my question. Who's the person who loves Bad Street Brawler, but specifically the NES version? Fuck's sake, I just want to knock this granny's lights out. There we go.
What year was Bad Street Brawler again? 89?
Yeah, on NES.
Yeah, I meant NES. I'm trying to think where Jeremy Parrish is up to in NES works.
That's a move.
Good boy.
Good
That's
boy.
a move.
Did that pacify him? No.
What is this move supposed to be? Also, I am completely stun locked.
Is that the ear twister? No. It's just a shake.
I think I'm choking him.
That,
I mean, it's
you're
effective.
not grabbing a part of their body that would be choking them. Enjoying the show, dude?
You know, I was about to quit. I was gonna say that's as much as I want to play, and then I got stun locked and lost 8 ticks of health in a matter of 2 seconds, and now I really don't want to play this. But, you know, cute that it exists. Cute is maybe not the right word. It's probably the opposite of the right word.
Adorable.
Let's see if there's a grotesque game over
Precious.
stream. This is a lot of dogs.
It's
I don't know how anyone would do
Lot-
this fight.
a lot of good boys.
Good boy.
The one guy I managed to pet is the old man. Gotta load up that game over screen. Well,
Good.
that was Street Hassle for the Commodore Amiga. Thank you, World Software. Thank God they're not just naked. Ay, ay, ay. Let's close out of that. And, Charkie,
Any closing thoughts?
you know, in the final analysis, you just can't beat a heart of gold. Okay, no, okay, maybe I should try to put some real thoughts on this. Specifically on the actual version of it. We can disregard that World Software version, that's not official. It's interesting to see a game change so drastically between consoles, between computers, to see Beam Software release this game that starts as like a parody of a genre that they arguably helped to establish in the beat 'em up. Then to take that and then twist it on its head to make it completely like uncomfortable, to make it like genuinely unsettling in the form of the ZX Spectrum version, and to completely flip that around again for the NES version, which is self-parody of a parody. It is such a strange lineage, but you can see the things that remain the same. You can see like the gameplay hooks that they refuse to change between versions, and which ones they did decide to change. You can see what they decided needed fixing and upgrading, iterating, and what they decided, nah, we got this right the first time, right? I feel like the NES game, and I keep calling it like parody or self-parody. What I think it is like you know, it's the classic motivation that people ascribe to like a, you know, when id gave the source code for Wolfenstein 3D to Wisdom Tree, to make Super 3D Noah's Ark, they did it as revenge against Nintendo and their censorship, like that old bullshit story that we've debunked time and time again already. Please read our article on Super 3D Noah's Ark on the BadGameHallOfFame.com. This almost feels like an actual execution of that concept. This almost feels like that actually come to light with Beam Software getting the Iggy to make this NES version, getting the approval for it, but saying, oh, right, you gotta change everything. And them taking that and being like, all right, you want us to change everything? We'll change everything. We'll make a piss take. We'll make the most lame hero in existence, and you will market it on the back of the box as a punk rock vigilante. You will call this the coolest guy ever, and you will advertise this guy as being the sickest guy ever. And then people will play the game. They'll be confronted with the biggest dweeb loser of all time, and a complete like cartoon cast of characters, even beyond like the wildest shit we imagined 2 years prior. Clearly they had something to say with all these versions of the game. Clearly they had some sort of commentary, some things they wanted to poke fun at, and that's great. I just wish
some things to say about the spiders.
Certainly so. You know, so I have to admire at least like their commitment to the bit, I suppose. I just wish they had tightened up the gameplay some for that NES version. I wish that even if they recognized that it was going to be like a complete piss take or whatever, that they had at least tightened up the gameplay a little bit, made it less bullshit, less juggling, less wild damage variance, maybe had some way to select which moves you use rather than being assigned moves that are just, that range from useless to the only move you'd ever want to use. So a very inconsistent product in that sense. And the Power Glove thing, you know, people complain about on-disc DLC. Who'd have thunk that it existed way back in 1989, that they were locking content away on the cartridge you already paid for, making you buy additional shit to access it. Which is, you know, that's more on Mattel. I wouldn't blame Beam Software for that necessarily. They're the ones who paid $30,000 or $40,000 for the privilege to do that, so, you know. And this game definitely bombed on them. It definitely did not sell through a bunch of units, neither did the Power Glove. Marxist Maximus thing, isn't that how shareware games work? No, shareware games would not contain the entire game on a disc that you pay to unlock it. Shareware would be a demo, and then you send them money in an envelope, and they send you a floppy disk containing the actual full game. Very different principle. But back to my point here. I wish there was a reality in which Bad Street Brawler was slightly better. Was more fun to play, and it could be looked back on as more of like a kitschy sort of gimmicky thing that people could take the goofy aesthetic, could take the strange theming and aesthetics and whatnot, but like applied to something that's like more functional in terms of gameplay. Then maybe this game would be appreciated a bit more, or maybe be completely forgotten. That's the thing I always have to like remind myself of, is that if they rose this game to the level of average or competent, then it would be forgotten. The fact that it's bad, the fact that it is sloppily assembled, is why it got covered on Sean Baby, is why we're talking about it 20 years later here right now. You know, it's the reason why it's lingered in memory. It's not just the goofiness, it's the fact that it's goofiness attached to such a uneven product that helps it to linger in the memory that much deeper, that helps put it that much further inside of your brain. What did you think of this whole experience?
Thing is, famously, you have way more to say than I ever do.
Sorry.
I think it was, like I said this earlier, but I think it was very interesting, and I think it was very much a good idea to go through like every version that preceded it before getting to the most infamous NES version, to see that like the NES version maybe isn't that bad. Like it's not good,
yes,
but comparatively, like in the grand scheme of things,
in the final analysis, if you will,
in the final analysis, yeah, it seemed
you just can't beat a card of gold.
Yeah, and I you know, and that lends credence to the whole idea of, you know, context when we look at bad games and all that stuff. And I think that what they were going for, maybe less so in the ZX Spectrum version, but what they were going for, I think, was funny, legitimately. Like this sort of anti beat 'em up
at a time, again, where I feel the need to like reiterate that like Double Dragon was barely out. You know, this is like nascent genre, very early beginnings of the genre, and Beam Software already saw fit to be like, well, this is goofy. The idea of like a one-man power trip taking on like hundreds of guys, all martial artists. Well, we just had them beat up like old people and just random dudes on the streets. Wouldn't that be a funny twist on this? For them to get in that early is certainly appreciable. It is certainly something of some sort of merit, I guess. Forward thinking, let's say. But that will do it, I think. I think that's all that needs to be said about Bad Street Brawler. I think we said more than anyone else has ever said about Bad Street Brawler in the course of this. If not even Retro Gamer could see fit to mention this game even once in their history of Beam Software, I like to think we did it okay.
And by the way, the bit I said at the start where I was like, I'm surprised they didn't mention it because of one major component of it, the Power Glove. That was the bit that I was...
Well, they still would have mentioned the ZX Spectrum version or the CPC version or whatever the case may be, but... Besides,
but I mean, considering it was one of 2 games that carry that label, I was like, really, you won't even mention that?
Not even offhandedly, not even like mockingly, but alas. Who's streaming on this fine night? Who's streaming at this hour? Oh, Proxy Glitchcat is playing Super Mario 64 DS, which is certainly an interesting version of that game, and I think Proxy is an interesting streamer, so please to tell him we said hi. We will send y'all their way. Please to consider, if you enjoyed watching tonight's program, subscribing on Twitch, pledging on Patreon, boosting us on Discord. Please hit him with a link to the Discord server, Charkie. Join our little community, join our little cult of personality, and consider supporting us so you have a say in games that we play. This Thursday coming up, we'll be concluding, with any luck, I almost forgot it, but it was Iron Man for PS3. We're going to finish that on Thursday. And then Saturday, you have something up your sleeve, because I will be unavailable, but you have something planned. So
I'll be bringing Sid on again, and we're going to start a new long play.
Very good. But I've been Cass for tonight.
And I'm Charkie.
Thank you, everyone, again, for tuning in. Duke Davis will... hopefully not rise again. Hopefully this is the last we'll see of him. I never want to see this dude around. He worries me. He concerns me. Let's put him to rest. And bye!
Good night, everybody.